but not too much politics. Not too much
No, no, no,
politics.
no, 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 no. Migration.
Yeah, let's do it.
Hustle.
Let's do it. Oh, it's recorded. Lekker.
Yeah. What's happening, people? It's your boy Jerome Arab with your boy Mr Chiwaz. We need to actually get those effects put in now. You know, I feel it's time. It's time.
It's time, my G.
So welcome to another episode of Let's Talk. And today we want to talk about Africans in the diaspora, a little bit more about that. And why I say Africans in the diaspora is it's because it is about migration, kind of. You know, people that have had to leave, whether they're seeking refuge or they've migrated, like not because of war or whatever in their countries, but they have had to migrate because of opportunity. So we're just talking about Africans in the diaspora, you know. And I'm also saying Africans, but we are looking for people. Like, I think I'm speaking on people of color in general. I feel like there's a different relationship when you in the diaspora, when you're in a white world or Western world, and you're somebody of color. I feel that.
Yeah, true. But I'll add on to that a little bit.
Yeah.
Of which I found very weird. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, cool. So we're talking about Africans in the diaspora. It's hard to speak on the white side of things because I don't think there's any white people present. But yeah, we'll try and just talk about it in that context. So let's start off with real quick. Let us know how you ended up in Canada. Let's go.
Okay. Long story short, wifey and I decided, when we were dating, because it was long distance. You know the story. Zimbo trying to applied 17 times. Got no. And then I'm thinking, where do you think I'm getting this money to reapply, from, you know what I'm saying? So, and you know the hustle. So anyway, applied, I think, 4 times.
Yeah.
And within those 4 times, there's a time where I actually had applied for university, got my joint, paid for my tuition. Okay, everything was done. They still give me my student visa. So at that time, wife, then girlfriend, we were like, Saka, I guess you know what? It's not how we had planned our relationship or how we had planned on kind of seeing things. So we'll just keep it in Zim. So then she was in university here. Then she kind of put university on hold because that's how you do here. You can put it on hold. You know?
Time out.
Yes. She was like, hey, half time. And then she had to come through. But when we're dating, during the time we were dating the long distance, she easily, she easily could travel. Just pack your bag and get your visa at the airport.
At the border, just post.
Yes, so anyway, so we decided, okay, cool. But then already at that time we were talking about, hey, where is our relationship going? And we were planning on, getting engaged and all through that. But then with me going back and forth with no denials of this and that, we're like, okay. So she's like, I'm going to stop university and I'm going to come out. Then, God willing, we'll see what happens. So she moved and we got engaged because that was a plan anyway. We got engaged, but I need to explain. It wasn't like we had dated 2 years and we got engaged. And then we got married in Zimbabwe. And then we just made like a life for ourselves. Like our family came through for the wedding and whatever. So we're like, this was, you know what I'm saying? And then in our minds, we're always going, God will pull through one day, but no pressure. Her sister got engaged and then was getting married. And then so my wife was the maid of honor. So ticket booked Chichichi. And then she came back for the wedding. And then I kind of applied again. I was like, let me just try. And then I ended up getting like a 2-year multiple entry visa. Yes, sir. So then that's when the journey began. So I was like, oh, cool. But at that time, since we're, moving in faith, we were like, I was living out of my bag when she left. I packed my bags and put everything in our house, and we had put things in order just in case something happens. And it actually did, right? when we were not desperately seeking. And
Yeah.
then moved out. Locked my doors, gave my homies took me to the airport, and they were like, okay, later, my guy. And then everything was packed in the house, and they were like, we'll sort things out for you. Bye bye. Yes, sir. And that was it. But the one big thing was that I'm grateful for was the fact that she could finish her university. Because when we were in Zimbabwe, bro, uh, I don't know, I think you understand. Like, I didn't want her to look back and go, oh, my life, Chichi. And I also didn't want her family, like my in-laws, to go. Not that they were thinking that, but I didn't want them to go, Saka, Saka mtesu you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but it worked out well. But anyway, we'll talk relationship one day. I'll tell you the details about it. But it worked out well, and we ended up moving here, and just made a life for ourselves here, and we've been here since. Yeah,
that is cool. That is cool.
Yes,
that is cool.
Mm-hmm.
That is cool. Wow. I mean, mine is a lot more complicated than that. Yours is actually a very straightforward.
Already?
Yeah. In 2008, I moved to England with my mom because my mom's actually part Portuguese. Her father was Portuguese. Her mother was Zambian. So she carried a Portuguese passport.
Right.
So I basically went out there under the EEA law because she came out here and was here for a few months. And I was like, I'm going to join my mother.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Anyway, my mother had come out here a few times to make some money and come back. Because everyone knows Africa, if you're African, Africa's for you. And then we ended up traveling, my sister and I, because we're about the same age. And when we got here, my paperwork got denied after about 1.5 years, but they never returned my documents to me, the Home Office in the UK. So for 3.5 years, I basically had no identification whatsoever.
So no status. You were just a destitute.
Zero. Not even a refugee. I was a nothing, a nobody. Passport not returned.
How old
I was 17 when I got here. I left when I was 21.
Whoa, so between 17 and 21 you were...
No, 22. I left at 22, yeah.
How did that work in terms of you having to then go out and chichi? Because I remember years ago, maybe it was the documentary that was maybe acting, I don't know. But I remember guys being raided in cabins where it's like they were checking on documentation. They're like, I don't know my paper, anyway.
Bro, it depends how you're living, man. And what type of jobs. Like any system can be beat. It depends on your ability to try and survive. How much of a survivor are you? If you ask me, I can go anywhere in the world and blend in because I carry a set of skills that teaches me to learn a culture quicker than most. So
all I'm asking is, wasn't it legal then?
I landed legally. So even in that, in the court of law, I could still represent myself but I didn't know that when I was a kid. Trust me, I know that now. But then I was like, I'm illegal. So I just didn't say anything. I found cash in hand jobs. I was living hand to mouth. Sometimes I'd go days with no food. I couldn't get a house, so I was sleeping on different couches. I was sleeping in hotel gyms, on floors, in studios, friends' houses, on couches. That's how I survived for most of those years. And then I finally left England. I was like, I can't take it. I went to the police station, I asked him to give me a police statement that said I lost my bag with my passport inside it because the British Home Office wasn't returning my passport. Luckily, the police officer kind of understood. I told him they never returned it in the end. I first said I lost it. Then I told him the truth. I was saying that because I needed that report to get a travel document to go back to Zim. I need to go home. I said, this place is killing me. Got back to Zim, done my thing. Everyone knows pretty much. And I'm not saying that to be like pompous. I'm just saying everyone kind of knows. Like I've done quite a lot on the continent. From Zim, I moved to South Africa. I realized how South Africa is to people that are not South African. Moved back to Zim. Zim started to also just give me some bad vibes. Like Zim was in a bad place. You know, before that, I'd been coaching. I had also managed to get Prince Edward back into its winning streak. And then I was just like, nah, this isn't for me. I'm not a coach. I'm a singer. I'm a songwriter. I'm an artist. And then I ended up going and moving to Zambia, where I met my partner, who's actually from the UK now. And then we've had our kids out here. I've come out here a few times. I usually come out here on a holiday visa. So people don't be fooled. I haven't moved yet. Like I'm still very much in touch with the continent. Like I go back every year for like 6, 7 months, sometimes 8 months, and then I come out here for 4 or 5 months, to be with the family.
So in Zambia, your direct family, like your parents, they're not in Zambia.
They're in Zambia. We all moved away from Zim. We had to.
Okay.
Not because of anything political. It's just there's nothing in Zim.
Just move. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
And that's kind of like where we're at. That's what we're talking about. Is people, Africans, a lot of Africans have to leave their countries, not necessarily because of the war or how they're directly affected by wars and stuff like that. It's the economy, opportunity to advance, and I feel that people get it twisted. People think that a lot of people migrate because they're going to countries to go and take. You understand what I mean?
Yes,
but most people go to countries because they just want to progress,
to
like
experience,
everyone else,
or even to experience. Like I'll be real with you, bro. Like, for me, so speaking of that, where people get it confused on both sides, because I remember when started actually back home when I was dating, and then we got married and whatever. The first thing that people were like, saka yo waenda shamai, waenda yo what bo, and that kind of set me aback a little bit to our man. I don't want to say this in a bad way, bro, because I don't want people to misquote me, but fungwa zedu ingqondo zethu lezi yazi
takaphuza mdala.
Hey ndoda, hey.
There's no other way to say it. Like, our thinking is messed up. Yeah.
That's where you find, Kuti, it then makes it difficult for us to progress. There's small little things that you can go back to and go, that's why we're not progressing. Because already you're thinking, Kuti, it was so bad, bro, to a point where when I was driving and my wife was passenger seat, guys thought, Kuti, I'm either the driver or whatever, right? And yes, I was driving her around, but I was not assigned as a driver. She's my wife, right? And also, people were like, Saka, mom cash. Little did you know that when I married my wife, I married into Chishikweret. I mean, because she had loans from freaking university and was still paying those, bro. Like, yes, they go for the education is free, but you have to start paying for that, man. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, guys, don't get it twisted. I'm already stressed. That opened up security before I never had a security like
in my life. Yeah.
Now the pinda muma 30,000. Saka, where do you get the mindset?
But that's the thing is, okay, just to also take people back. So what he's basically saying is when he like some of the shona that he's put in there, it's quite simple. Is our people think that when you marry somebody that you've advanced in life, like life is changing, you're going to be making money, you're going to grow exponentially, like things are going to start happening for you. But that's not the case. What happens, I feel, to most people like that marry into different cultures is their thinking expands. So that's why a lot of people tend to actually become successful. It's just because they're a little bit more aware that other things exist. Whereas when you stay within one bracket or one way of thinking and one culture, and you don't have the ability to look into other cultures and explore them. Like if you've never traveled, you've just been in your own settlement, it's hard to understand that things have moved from whatever it is that you're part of, know. So it's even the people abroad that see most Africans and they're like, oh, so you're here as a refugee. No, I'm not seeking refuge, fam. I'm here.
My guy, I've heard how many times, and it's got me to a point where now I'm in a situation where I'm like, I'm tired of explaining myself. It's too much. Like, there's people here who have come from, again, we might be black, okay? The same as you are white or whatever from here, but you've got different situations. It's the same. Like, I've got people from the Congo, people from, the DRC, and the Congo is broken up into 3 countries.
Yeah.
And then there's people from from Nigeria. There's people from Guinea-Bissau. Yes, there's war-stricken.
Senegal, Mali. It's
There's
crazy.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
and people will tell you, yeah, we came seeking refuge, left the Congo, and went to another country and stayed there for years until we got to come here, right? So there's different stories, but you can only get to understand that when you sit down and get to know people.
Yeah.
But what I found is we are just put in this bubble where people have come across to me and they've been like, hey, and not that they in all honesty, they actually like, so and this is how the conversation starts. So hey buddy, so you left Africa because of the war, hey? must be tough, you know, and you got family, still got family out there. And my guy, I'm like, why? Why? You know what I'm saying? So I've had to, it's funny, I've had a couple of times to explain myself. I did not move here because I was chased away or because of political whatever. No. My wife and I decided to pack and come. Okay? This was free will by choice. Anyway. So that's what when people think you migrated somewhere, especially people from this side, they think, oh, yeah, there was problems. You know what I'm saying? And which then makes it tough to then feel comfortable, because like in a sense, because then you're like, they're viewing you in a different
people, like, it's almost like they pity you. And I feel that anything that's starting from that type of a thing in general, it's like people are not doing it, like they're not actually doing stuff according to your, like, oh, well, this person is talented or gifted, or this person has something to share. It's kind of like, oh, we need to feed them, we need to give them a job. And it's like, but that's not the relationship that we're trying to build. For a lot of us, like, I've come back to England after my first experience, and I hated England after that, you know. And I'm out here and I see how people move and how things are, and I'm like, oh wow. So when I come out here next time, I'm like, I want to come out here and I want to live. So I'm going to get our paperwork sorted. You know, wifey and I are trying to sort all of that stuff out. And I want to come out here and work in the TV and film world. Bear in mind, I've done stuff on the continent that's out of this world. From when I was a kid, I've been breaking all sorts of records in terms of arts. I've got so much I want to share. And it's just, if Zim paid me for what I do, I wouldn't look elsewhere. I wouldn't move. I would have stayed, you know. And I guess that's the first point I wanted to touch on when I was talking about Africans in the diaspora. Is not every African that is in the diaspora has the same story, because we're all individuals and we all have different walks, come from different walks of life. So one myth that we need to bust open is the same way, like, not every woman that's a lesbian has walked the same sort of life. You know, it's like, oh, so what made you change? Don't ask somebody those type of questions. How do you know that they were straight before? Like everyone has their own walk of life, and you have to remember that people are people. Start from a place of unknowing, you know, instead of saying, oh, so you were running away from the wars. Why don't you ask, oh, so how did you end up here? And start from a place of where it is genuinely trying to get to know somebody, not like, oh, pity. Because I pity you when you do that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Lack of knowledge and just ignorance. You see, that's where I'm like, shame, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway.
The second thing is now Africans, the actual Africans. So I think we first spoke to like just general people that are like viewing the African in the diaspora. Now the Africans in the diaspora, do you feel that there's opportunity? And also, do you feel that the systems that are in place, there's more pros than cons? Do you feel it's hard to excel and be successful? And why?
That's a difficult one. I feel, depending on where, for me, okay, everyone who's listening, this is Mr. Chiwaz, this is Shepherd Chiwandiri speaking for him, okay? My experience has been like this, up and down, okay? Especially with settling in and being new, and already being a minority, Okay.
Yeah.
So it also depends on where you are. Like my community, my city, is almost. Do you know how Stellenbosch is? Let's put it that way. So it's
Yeah.
like that. It's like you will know when you walk into a store. You won't even guess. You will know you're the only black person in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like that way. Even with work, I'll tell you what. Like I've had experiences where it's been tough. Having to, because for me, bro, I want to settle into a job and work there for years until I retire if it's a good job and everything, right? But because it just doesn't look good when you've worked here and you worked 3 months, 4 months, and then you apply for another one, 3 months for and that's how I've kind of had to go to kind of survive,
Yeah.
because some work experiences have been horrible because people do not know how to you know
Engage.
engage with a
Yeah.
person of color,
Yeah.
or they struggle with that, or there's people who are directly not wanting you around.
Yeah.
So it plays a mental, like, so it becomes very difficult. So for me, I've experienced that, but I've also experienced the good side about stuff where there's guys who are like, yo, like how do we help each other out? Like, not even a pity case, like, yo, bro, I love the way you think. Can we sit down and try this, and then you jump onto that, and so it just depends on who you're dealing with. There's people who don't care. There's
Yeah.
people who embrace new people and new culture and want to hear your story or want to work with you because it's a great experience for them.
Yeah.
But there's people who are like, I've never ever in my life been around a person of color.
Yeah.
How do I deal
With
with
that.
this?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So it's very tricky to say, oh, it's been very hard because people just don't. No. There's goods, and then there's a good side, and then there's an iffy side. Yes, I've actually faced racism, like
Yeah.
point blank,
Yeah.
like point blank, bro. Like
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
had a person speak a certain language, thinking that I don't understand, and that's a nice thing about me. Most of my work that I did back home in Africa, like I was a tour guide for a couple of years, right? So I
Yeah.
learned a couple of languages so when I came here, I was fascinated by one of the languages it's called Lower German,
Yeah.
right? So there's
Yeah.
High German in Germany, right? There's this,
Yeah.
it's called Lower German.
Yeah.
So I started asking questions and I'm learning words, so that I can just greet people, and say, just to fit in, not to fit in, but to make
To be
people
part
feel
of community. Yeah.
to make people comfortable,
Yeah.
too, right? To show that, hey, I'm not ignorant. I want to learn your language. I want to I want to know how you make your meals or whatever, your traditional meals. So anyway, one of my workplaces, grown-ups, by the way, like these are people in their 50s, grandparents that I was working with.
Yeah.
One guy yelled across the factory to his friend in their language and said, yo, just watch this. I'm going to paint my face black with the paint dust so that I can look like this guy. So I let it go. I was, doing my work, and then and they started laughing, right? So, and then I walked to him and I said, it's funny how, everyone wants to be me. Oh, you should have seen the look on his face. I was like, no, I heard what you said, you know? And I said, with all due respect, that makes me feel very uncomfortable. And I left it there.
Yeah.
So and it depends on how you deal with stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So sometimes it's an issue of facing it directly and going to sit down and say, yo, this is how it is, or hey, ask me questions. But there's some instances where like I don't want to waste my energy or to feel like there's something wrong with me. So I'd rather just not waste my voice here.
Yeah.
Because those are choices that people have to decide to love someone or to hate someone.
Yeah.
So if you already have chosen that, I'm not going to try justify myself.
Yeah.
No, I don't have to. Yeah, So there's these things but here we're talking black, white, right? Or whatever race.
Whatever.
But guess what? Within our African demographic too, from wherever we're coming from, this is my guy. Bro, you almost feel like, guys, this is why we're not progressing. We've left the continent. Now we are we should be a tight unit, but we are doing this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
I have no idea how we're gonna fix.
It's the truth is everything comes down to tribe. So I'm gonna wrap it up real quick because I'm also gonna have to buzz because Navula needs to get on here as well.
Sorry, Navula. Sorry.
But the reason why I posed that question about us, and I'm glad that you took it to where you took it. One, working in many jobs is actually a pro. Always. There's no con to that. Because the amount of things that you are learning, and that's the thing, you have to embrace it. Until you find a place where you're stable, it's cool. It's cool to be bouncing from place to place.
My G, it helped me. No, I mean, it was frustrating, right? Because I had my direct, but my resume was all right.
Yeah.
But guess what? Oh, and another thing about resumes, right?
Yeah.
If you I came in with my paperwork, brand, I was like, yay, you know what I'm saying? But you have to, they don't recognize
any of you. Yeah.
So and then you have to try prove that it costs money, or you start doing. So it helped me. I realized when I did those little jobs, then I took some
courses or whatever it is.
Courses here to just fit in.
Yeah.
Those things that I did hands on though.
Yeah.
Bro, they put me like on another level. I was like, Shamari resume, shine, you know? And it's because I had the mindset of going, okay, I'm learning something here. It's for my own benefit. They might think we're giving him the worst job, but actually, thank you, because I'm learning how to do this, how it works. Yeah. I'm learning how your business operates. I'm learning how you guys do how you deal with with certain issues or financial issues or whatever. It made me look good. Yeah. And I took it, bro.
Yeah.
So you're right. So I'm very grateful for those things, though it is still difficult.
It is. So. And that's the thing is, the thing that I'd like to remind Africans in the diaspora is life in general is difficult. People back home are still also struggling in more ways than one. And I can talk about the continent in general. Yes, there's some countries better than others, but there's still a struggle, because I can talk about the world over. Everyone's got a different type of struggle. You choose your struggle. The truth is, as I said, one, you will be met with racism, but racism, it shouldn't affect you, because the person that's racist, the problem lies with them. So you have to be able to empathize and understand that that's their problem, not yours. So when you engage it, don't become like, oh, now it's because I'm black. Oh, no, because then it's like, oh, okay. So they've proved the point. You are savage. You are ignorant. You are arrogant. But if you just like, oh, well, that's your problem. Cool. You deal with it. You know what I mean? And move on. Keep moving. If somebody doesn't take
my joy if I focus too much on it, bro.
Yeah. If they don't take food out your stomach, or or money out your pocket, then don't engage it. Like, allow it. Leave it alone.
But we're not saying, to people listening, we're not saying ignore. I mean,
no.
That's things that need to be dealt with.
Yeah, but deal with it in a fashion that doesn't. Yeah. Deal with it in a fashion that doesn't actually put you on the back foot.
Yes,
And another thing is, Africans in the diaspora, when you meet fellow Africans, and even like I've seen it Zimbo against Zimbo. Don't get it twisted. Like I must be above you. Like we need to actually bun all of that. Like we need to stop doing that and actually come together. Because
do you know how long it took me to find out that there's some fellow Zimbabweans around who had already been here?
Bro,
and it's a small number. It's a small number, by the way. But I'm just saying, do you know how long it took me?
Yeah.
Like, they had heard that, a young man had moved through, and I was
welcoming
excited.
Committee.
I've got a brother.
Zero.
You, boss. I only ended up finding out about them in a group where they ended up going, hey, Simwana, what did they say?
It's like
3.5 years later. Mama ndanda fapana ne chando.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's another problem that we have. But I always look at it this way, bro. People outside of our own race.
Yeah.
Okay? They see this.
Yeah.
And to be honest, they look at it and go, well, then, if these guys are being savage amongst each other,
then
I don't know if it makes sense what I'm saying, bro.
No, it does.
Anyway, it's another story. But also, I wanted to say an important thing about just moving to, migrating to the diaspora. Some of us do have a weight, and it's not in a bad way, because of how Africa is, how things, there's no opportunity. Some of us then are not just working for Inini and my family and my wife and our daughter.
Yeah, we're working for
extended family. We're working for my mom's neighbors. You get what I'm saying? Saka, sometimes you look at it and you're like, munaenda diaspora, fire, but you don't actually understand, Kuti. Me and my homies, we call it black man's taxes. We'll continue playing black man's taxes, right? Like, to kind of still help other people. So I missed an opportunity, or someone misses an opportunity in university because they're like, I still got my siblings that need to finish high school. So maybe I'll wait on university, make sure they go through school. Then in Indozongo Kia. We've had to do that make sacrifices like that. And we used to it, and to me, I find it as a blessing too. But is it fair? If you think about it, maybe no, but it's there, and we have to do what we can because because we're human beings and we've got to look after each other, I guess.
That's a whole nother, because that's the conversation of privilege that I would like us to actually definitely tackle next. But for now, just in general, it's like people, not everybody has the same walk of life, and there's always challenges regardless. The key is in being empathetic and just loving thy neighbor, bruh. Like, that's life. Like, people move 100%. You forward. People move you forward.
Let's learn from each other. Let's grow. Let's support each other. And I think you'd find that it makes our lives easier when we get to sit down and go, where can I help you? Or what do you have that I don't have? What do I have that you don't have? Then we can just cha-cha.
And bro, move.
Do you know why some of these folks are successful? Exactly that.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
They sit down and sort out their differences, but they are like, funny opportunity. Okay, let's grind, so that we need to pick those things up and just, anyway.
Bo,
my G.
People, I hope you enjoyed the chat. One love, and tune in for our next episode.
Yes, sir. All right, man. Take care. Oh, she's up.